Um, yeah, but I'm in Botukatu right now. Okay,
Ok,
yes, it's a city.
yes, thank you. Bom, então a Pei agora ela está no Brasil, ela está em São Paulo, dentro do município de Botucatu, e ela está passando pelo Brasil para conhecer e relaxar e passar esse fim de ano com a Giovana, já que ela trouxe ela para cá, porque ela e a Gi vão para o Reino Unido no próximo semestre para que elas possam continuar cursando a faculdade no Reino Unido. Então, a Minerva, não sei se vocês já ouviram falar antes, mas é uma universidade que ela é multidisciplinar e que você estuda em diversos países ao redor dos seus 4 anos de graduação. Então, acredito que Pei e Giovanna estavam na Argentina, no último semestre, e agora elas estão passando as férias no Brasil e logo estarão indo para o Reino Unido. Então é algo totalmente incrível, é uma experiência, você consegue se imergir em diversos tipos de culturas variadas. Well, really interesting. So, yeah, Isaac deixou no chat, Giovanni Pei are friends, they study in the same college and course. Well, maybe they can feel comfortable answering that. I think maybe it's better. So, Pei, would you like to answer?
I'm studying computer science. I think Giovanna is studying political and social sciences,
Yes, I bet.
something like that.
Yes, I bet it is political science. So yes, Giovanna and Pei are friends. Yeah, okay, I Pei e Giovanna são amigas e enquanto a Pei estuda ciência da computação, a Giovanna estuda ciências políticas e design. Really, really interesting. So Pei, why have you decided to study computer science and intelligence? I'm actually curious about that.
Um, I did I did programming in high school. So in high school, I learned website development. Um, and I wanted to try something in tech but different, and I chose artificial intelligence because it is a up and coming field, and I thought it would pay me well. But after I worked at IBM, I realized maybe the pace of work in a, a tech company is not what I wanted. So yeah, I was guided. I chose my field because of money and also like it's something familiar but a little bit different, but now I regret it.
Wow, really interesting. Então a Pei compartilhou por que ela decidiu fazer ciência da computação. E ela disse que durante o ensino médio ela já estudava programação, ela tem coisas interessantes e principalmente ela se encontrou na área de tecnologia. E ela decidiu escolher a área de inteligência artificial. Então esses foram alguns dos fatores. E ela também disse que também tem a questão financeira, que é algo que é satisfatório hoje em dia na área de TI. Well, interesting. So now following up with another question, like related to maybe cultural shocks. So like when you are on Minerva, you're going to explore various countries, and like, what do you think were the biggest cultural shock that you ever have experienced when you were anywhere else, like maybe in Brazil, maybe in Argentina, or maybe anywhere you have been before? Like, have you ever felt like, oh my God, this is actually so different of what I'm used to in Singapore? Do you think you I don't know.
Um, I guess in Colombia and Argentina and also in Brazil, the people you would say hi to people when you're in the lift. Like when you go into the lift, you have to say hi or people will think that you are rude. So I don't really it's not a thing in Singapore. You could just like go into the lift and not say hi.
Okay. So like you just mentioned like in Brazil and Argentina, people are used to like some approaches and say hi and things like that. And like in Singapore, they're not use it
In,
to.
in the elevator, like in the
Oh,
elevator, it's
got it.
that. Sorry, we call it lift. Um,
Oh, got it.
but they're the same. They're the same. Yeah. In the elevator, you could just go inside the lift, and if you don't know the person, and so you go inside the elevator, and if you don't know the person, you can just ignore them in Singapore.
Yes, I guess lift is British, English, and elevator is American. Okay. Uh, então eu perguntei para a Pei quais foram os principais choques culturais que ela teve, já que ela passou por tantos países. E principalmente ela mencionou que, por exemplo, na Argentina e no Brasil as pessoas costumam se cumprimentar com mais frequência, principalmente no elevador. Então, na Singapura as pessoas não têm esse costume, elas às vezes apenas se ignoram, enquanto que no Brasil a gente tem esse costume de ser um pouquinho mais quente, de cumprimentar as pessoas, de ser mais receptivo. Então, esse foi um choque cultural para ela. Well, so I guess I have made some questions now, but I would like to open for more students to make questions so we can get to know a little bit more about pay. So if you're interested into asking anything, just feel free to raise your hand. You right here, admit, and I'll be getting your questions. So first on the line, we have Carla. Carlos, fique à vontade para fazer a sua primeira pergunta. E claro, pessoal, caso alguém já gostaria de perguntar algo diretamente para a Pei, vocês podem levantar a mão do Meet. Se vocês estiverem com dificuldade para falar inglês ou gostaria de perguntar algo e você não está tão confiante, fique à vontade, que eu também posso auxiliar para traduzir a sua pergunta. Mas, Carlos, fique à vontade. Carlos, você está com a mão levantada, você gostaria de perguntar ou comentar algo? Ok. Bom, caso não respondam, eu vou partindo para as próximas pessoas, a gente pode retornar a sua pergunta logo em seguida. Mas próximo na lista tem o Harrison. Por favor, Harrison, fique à vontade.
Hi, Pei. First, thank you giving your time to us. And my question is based in the forums about EA, and I see the most developer using Python. Do you use Python as your main language? If yes, why?
Okay, so Python is a programming language that user has many users, so you can use it for web, and um we use it for data science as well. So you analyze the data, um and also for machine learning and artificial intelligence. Coming to Minerva, yes, it has become my main language because I am doing more machine learning and artificial intelligence. Uh, oh no. Yeah. So the answer is yes. For Fabio, the answer is yes. I use Python as my main language because it is closer to what I am studying. Um, and yeah, everyone has to learn it at Minerva. I hope that helps.
Okay, so I believe the Harrison question is like which programming languages do you usually use the most, right? Yes, ok. Então, o Harrison perguntou quais eram os idiomas de programação que a API mais utiliza, e a API mencionou que ela usa Python com a maior frequência. Perfect. Next on the line we have Jaqueline. So, Jaqueline, por favor, fique à vontade.
Hello, good evening for everyone. Hi, Pei. Nice to meet you, and it's a pleasure for us having you here to talk with us. And I would like to ask, how long are you studying at Minerva University, and which countries have you ever been for studies?
Okay. In total, I have to study for 4 years. And I am doing my third year now. So 4 years is in semesters, so that's 8 semesters. And I just finished my 5th semester.
Mhm.
Uh, so I have 3 more semesters to go. At Minerva. Yes, Giovanna is crying. Me too.
Because you are not going to be together in the next semester. I understood that you were going to study in the same place, isn't it?
Yes, yes. So we've been to San Francisco in the United States, and then we went to Seoul in South Korea, uh, and then Taipei in Taiwan, in Hyderabad in India, and we just finished the semester in Buenos Aires, Argentina. So
Mhm.
next we're going to London,
London.
in yes, in the United Kingdom, and we will be going to Berlin after that.
Okay, very interesting. I think that this kind of method of study is very interesting because you have the opportunity to know different cultures and different places. It's very interesting. Congrats for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Really interesting. So just to check it out, you have mentioned that you have been to San Francisco, then Seoul, I guess that's how pronounced, like in South Korea, and then Argentina, and then now the UK, right? Okay. So where are you going next? Like after UK?
Berlin in Germany.
Oh, really? Really
And
interesting.
Giovanna posted it in the chat. Yeah,
Oh,
and
really
the places
interesting.
we've been to.
Okay. Well, so just one more question. Like, you have finished your third year, or like, are you starting your third year? I think you finished your third year and starting the last year, right?
I finished half of my third year.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, 3 semesters, so 1 year and a half.
Yeah, I have 1 year and a half left.
Ok. Bom, pessoal, então traduzindo, a Pei agora ela está fazendo faculdade na Minerva com a Giovana e a faculdade tem duração de 4 anos e agora falta apenas 1 ano e meio para ela concluir. Ela está ali basicamente terminando o terceiro ano, está na metade, né? E ela já passou por São Francisco, passou por Seul, acredito que essa é a maneira que se pronuncia, fica na Coreia do Sul. Logo em seguida, ela partiu para a Argentina e agora ela está no Brasil para as férias. E depois ela vai partir para Londres e no final vai partir para Berlim, na Argentina. So I think that's really cool. Like, that's why I feel like applying to Minerva in the next few years. Okay, so next we have Isaac. Isaac, por favor, fique à vontade. Se você tiver alguma dúvida, você pode abrir o microfone ou trazer no chat, fique à vontade. Hi. Well, Isaac, por favor. Is there any issue along with my connection, or it's just like,
He's frozen for me.
yeah, I guess it's frozen. So we're gonna bring him later on, but let's just follow up and then we call out Isaac again. Next we have Hudson, por favor.
Wow. Regarding your experience visiting Brazil, what did you like the most?
Acai. Sorry. I
Açaí?
love I love acai. Yes.
Oh, my brother-in-law, it's a seller of açaí.
Oh,
Next time, come visit in Natal, in Rio Grande do Norte.
okay. Next time.
Yes, I'm just wondering how could I translate Rio Grande do Norte, but I feel like since it's the name, it is not translated. So, yeah, so interesting place to go like in Christmas. Also, the South part is actually interesting. Oh, I bet Isaac's back. Isaac, você gostaria de fazer essa pergunta? Acho que você tinha travado na hora.
Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry, my microphone, I don't know what happened, was deactivated. So nice to meet you, Pei. Thank you for sharing the information and answering the questions. I would like to question if you do. I would like to do two questions. If are you doing an internship, a remote internship, and what are your goals in the professional life?
I guess the internship one is easy to answer. No, I am not. I am looking for an internship for the upcoming for 2024. So if you have any suggestions, I'll be happy to chat. Um, yes. My for my goals, for my professional life, I want to be able to impact people through my work positively. So I want to be able to help people through my work. So, for instance, mm, if you ask me to create a AI automation to produce dancing TikTok videos, um, like that is not really helping people to me. But if you want me to create a app that will help women track their cycle and track their menstrual cycle and live more uh a- in tune with their menstrual cycle so that they uh, do not overexert themselves. Like that is the kind of work that I want to work on. So yeah, I'm not sure if Fabio, you need me to repeat. Let me know.
No, I got it perfectly. So thank you. Well, então a Pei, ela disse que ela está interessada em fazer um estágio, um internship no próximo ano. E o seu principal objetivo, referente que o Isaac perguntou, é que ela tem um interesse em utilizar os conhecimentos dela, adquiridos com tecnologia, para realmente criar um impacto positivo na sociedade. Então, algumas iniciativas pode, por exemplo, o que ela quis dizer que ela poderia talvez criar um aplicativo que possa controlar o ciclo menstrual de uma mulher e criar impacto quanto a isso. Então, são diversas possibilidades que ela pensa e esse ramo é algo que seria interessante para ela. Então, um dos principais objetivos é desenvolver algo que crie impacto de forma que revolucione a sociedade e que possa ser útil às pessoas. Wow, that's inspiring. Next we have Rui Pereira, por favor, fique à vontade. Rui, se você estiver falando, acredito que você está com o microfone fechado. A gente não consegue escutar você. Tem um botãozinho que deve estar vermelho agora, nas opções de botão, e ele vai ter o microfone. Aí. Pode falar agora que a gente está escutando. Well, guys, can you hear Rui? Oi, a gente ainda não consegue escutar você. Talvez você está usando um fone de ouvido ou alguma. Agora você está desmutado, mas a gente não consegue ouvir ainda. Talvez você pode deixar a sua pergunta no chat, talvez ficou melhor. Mas aí você tenta conectar, desconectar de novo, a gente pode seguir. Tudo bem? Perfeito. Next we have André, por favor, fique à vontade.
Tem duas entradas. Hi, good evening. Tem essa e tem a outra. You hear me? Okay. My ask is for the education system of Singapore. I heard about this system is the best education for the world. Why? Because why is it?
Um, I feel that this position comes with a cost because I grew up stressed. If you go to our Reddit, or we have we have a Reddit specifically for exams. You see a lot of young people over there very stressed about academics. So I don't know if this is a good thing. But I would say one very huge um driver of our high position is private tuition, private tutors, because uh, let me, yeah, basically parents will send their children to these tuition centers, or they hire people to teach their children outside of school. So in that way, the children get more practice in a sense to ace the exams. Yes.
Ô, Fábio, eu consegui entender algumas coisas, outras acabou passando. É um assunto muito interessante, eu gostaria que você pudesse traduzir.
Okay. So just to summarize, we have mentioned that people like in Singapore are usually like stressed about academics, and you have mentioned they used to pay like a private tuition for these students to learn, like overlearn. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Então as pessoas na Singapura, na verdade, elas costumam ter uma grande pressão acadêmica, tem um tipo de pressão realmente que é imposto já às pessoas muito novas, e eles têm que fazer um exame, que foi o que ela deixou aqui no chat, acredito que é esse RCGA Exams. E a partir disso, como tem tanta pressão, os pais às vezes costumam até colocar os adolescentes a fazerem escolas privadas, né? E aprender mais do que já é aprendido durante a escola, para que eles possam ir bem nesse teste. Uau, deu tudo certo, André? Você conseguiu entender?
Perfeito, não. Era mais ou menos o que eu tinha entendido, mas tinha algumas palavrinhas que eu não conhecia. Ele disse, não, vou perguntar, melhor. Thank you so much. I am the ask for the Chinese words. CC. Tá aqui, ok. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's go. Next, we have Erika, por favor.
Okay, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to stay with you. You have a name very different for me, very small, but different. I wanted to know about you. How many languages do you speak? And if you want or intend study Portuguese in your life one day.
Okay. Giovanna told me not to learn Portuguese because it is torture. But I speak 4 languages.
4 languages, wow.
So in English, we are taught in English in school. So I learned English, and then we also have to learn our mother tongue. I'm not sure. So based on our ethnic background, we learn the language of our ethnic background. So I learned Mandarin as my second language, and then at home, my family speaks a dialect of Chinese. So it's called Hokkien, which is common in southeastern China. Yeah, so that's Hokkien, and then I learned a little bit of Spanish. Yeah.
What do you think? Is easy for you, Spanish? No?
No. The conjugations is too much.
Wow, very good. Congrats for you, and thank you so much.
Really interesting. So, you speak 4 languages and you speak English. Like, oh, I'm just actually wondering, like, how have you learned English? Like, were you, like, in Singapore or anywhere else, like out of Singapore?
Oh, it's part of our education system. So we are taught in English. Everything is in English. Yeah.
Well, then he may be efficient, like learning English in Singapore, because in Brazil it isn't. Yeah.
Um, yeah, English is our native language,
Ok,
ideally.
yes. Então, ela fala 4 idiomas, ela fala inglês, então ela já aprendeu inglês na própria escola, né? Eles têm uma educação que eles já aprendem inglês lá diretamente, que talvez é, de certa forma, eficiente. Ela fala mandarim, e na sua casa eles também falam um dialeto, uma variação de mandarim também, de algumas línguas chinesas, e também fala espanhol. I think Giovanna have said for you to not learn Portuguese, and I couldn't get why. Was it like a joke or anything? I couldn't catch.
I think it was the conjugations as well. I'm not sure. Um,
Hmm. Well, an
the
interesting fact
conjugations.
is that I realized that a few minutes ago that Singapore in Portuguese is not actually spelled with an S, but with an C. And that actually shocked me because I was really faithful that it was supposed to be with an S. But S is only spelled in English. Yes, okay, so next we have Harrison, por favor, fique à vontade.
Well, before I become a developer, I was a teacher. As a teacher, I thought that the technology to help my students to turn more dedicated and more smaller. Sorry. In the other words, my wish for help my students move me to learn and change my direction of my career to developer. There is some specific topic in the world that you wish turn better with intelligence artificial.
So you are asking which topic I want to improve, which area do I want to improve with artificial intelligence?
Yeah, because I'm wish to turn develop because I have to turn better is education Brazilian better. You understand the and
Yes.
some specific topic that you have to turn better with your area.
That's really cool. Um, I would love to improve education as well. I think education has a lot of opportunities, especially um, if we are learning online. There is a lot of data that we can collect to see where students might be falling behind on their progress and use that information to perhaps reach out to the student and see what support we can offer. Um, so apart from education, I want to improve. This is something new that I'm exploring, but I think women's health in general is dismissed quite a lot, and I would like to improve on that. For now, the most accessible topic in women's health is menstrual health, and um, that is what I'm trying to do for my final project in university. Yes.
Great, thank you.
Well, really interesting. I couldn't get so much along with the beginning of the question, but they have mentioned that she actually. Oh, I'm just speaking in English. I was supposed to translate. Bom, a Pei estava falando que, então, reforçando a parte que ela tem interesse em causar impacto, principalmente na área da saúde feminina, e que ela tem realmente interesse depois, não depois, mas no final da faculdade, trabalhar em algo relacionado à área do ciclo menstrual e da saúde da mulher, porque ela identifica que tem algo escasso dentro dessa área. Então, ela quer aplicar realmente a parte de tecnologia e o domínio técnico dela nesse setor especificamente. That's really interesting. That's really needed nowadays. I have just a question. Like, while you were in high school, have you ever participated like in a Grow Up initiative? Like, the Grow Up from the UN?
No, it's not a thing in Singapore, I think. I've never heard of it. Like,
Oh,
mm, we
got
are
it.
we are very practical, so it's always science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and our our arts industry is just poor.
Got it. So yeah, let's go. I have just eu perguntei para a Paige se ela participou de alguma iniciativa, por exemplo, como Grow Up, que é uma iniciativa da ONU, que tem em diversos países, relacionado à saúde e vários setores relacionados ao lado feminino. But okay, I think Giovanna has done some Grow Up stuff. Well, Rui, por favor, será se você está com o fone, com o microfone funcionando?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, very good, very good. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to know about Faye. Faye, I have read about your country, talk about the government. Is that true that the government incentive or stimulate the children since childhood to study very hard in order to become the Singapore, the country? Singapore is a country that the big city in terms of technology and growing up. Is it true that the government stimulate the children to study very hard in order to get that?
I I think in terms of mm,
Sorry.
I think in terms of like societal expectations. Sorry, Fabio, I don't know how you're going to translate this, but societal expectations is that you have to go to university so that you can get a job, and then you would have a well-paying job with high enough salary to buy public housing. Um, and public housing is very expensive. It is the cheapest housing you can get in Singapore because we are a small country. So yeah, everything is expensive in Singapore. So I do see a lot of my friends and also a lot of people younger than me and people older than me who are driven by this need to have a high enough salary to buy public housing or a car. A car costs at least 100,000 Singapore dollars in Singapore. Um, so I would say because of these external pressures, yes, children, the government in some sense does kind of stimulate the children to work hard. Um, but also I do know of people whose parents explicitly whose parents do not push them at all. They're the parents are more of do your best, do what do a career that you like and can, and as long as you make money legally, we are happy with that. So yes.
Okay, I think as far as understood, you told us that it's kind of culture. The parents stimulate their children since childhood in order to
Yes.
get there, in order to growing up with very knowledge, in order to get a good job, good position, financial position in their career. Is that true?
Yes.
Hmm.
That is correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so really long answer. That's fine. Bom, então a Pei falou que numa expectativa social na Singapura, você já tem ali um pretexto de que você deve ir para a universidade e logo em seguida ter um trabalho que seja bem pago e que com esse trabalho você deve ter o suficiente para ter uma qualidade de vida, para comprar uma casa, para ter um carro ou algo do tipo. Singapura é um país pequeno e lá basicamente tudo é caro, então o custo de vida lá é mais relativamente alto do que a gente encontra em outros países. E lá, por exemplo, as pessoas mais velhas que ela encontra, por exemplo, às vezes não tem condições para ter um carro ou para ter uma casa, para ter os principais tipos de acomodações de forma geral. Então, lá não tem, de certa forma, tanta pressão para os adolescentes, para pessoas jovens, talvez vindo diretamente dos pais, sobre o que eles devem fazer, mas eles já seguram, tipo, pelo menos a pessoa, o adolescente, tem que seguir uma área ali que ela possa fazer dinheiro para que ela possa ter estabilidade no futuro. Perfect. So, interesting question. Next we have Jacqueline, por favor.
Pei, I saw here that you are 23 years old. You are very young. And I want to say to you, congrats, because you speak so well. I thought that you are older because you speak very, very well. Okay?
And is very smart.
Yes, yes.
I agree.
Yeah, but I have one question. You told us that you live in 4 or 5 different countries, and I would like to know which culture do you like the most comparing with Asian culture? Is this difficult to answer?
I think I think everyone will still prefer their own culture. So I really prefer Asian culture because if in terms of food, I really love Asian food.
Yes.
And yes, so I that already has 1 point for Asian culture. And then I I like to I'm a very introvert person, and in Asia
Mm.
you can just ignore other people sometimes. Like I mentioned earlier, when you go into the elevator, if you stop someone you know, you can just nod your head and you don't have to talk and say hi. So that's another point for Asian culture.
Yes.
And I think maybe because most Asian countries are a little bit small, so it's very easy they usually have good public transport.
Mhm.
And you could get around without a car. So in the chat, it's very expensive to buy a car in Singapore, and so I have a license, but I cannot drive. But I can get around any part of Singapore with a bus or the subway. So yeah, I would prefer Asian culture. Sorry.
Okay, okay, no problem. Very good, very amazing. Thank you very much.
Okay, really interesting. So, a Pei, ela disse que ela gosta principalmente da cultura asiática comparada às outras culturas, porque óbvio que quem já é do seu próprio país iria preferir, é claro, a sua própria região. Então, ela gosta, claro, principalmente na Ásia, as pessoas não precisam ter tanto um aproximamento como nós temos aqui, elas são mais fechadas, não precisa tanto de ser uma pessoa extrovertida por lá. And actually, I think that's a fact, because when I was in the US, I have like two Chinese friends, and we were coming back from Target, and like just a random guy just have stopped my Chinese friend and said, "Okay, I would like to take some pictures of you because you look so aesthetic." And like she actually got so much scared because the guy stopped her and she just like wanted to run, and it was a really awkward moment, but like for me it was like pretty much normal. Então, por exemplo, uma experiência, eu estava com duas amigas chinesas nos Estados Unidos e a gente estava voltando da Target e um moço na rua ele veio perguntar para minha amiga chinesa se ela gostaria de tirar fotos. Não sei se vocês chegaram a ver, mas, por exemplo, aquelas trends no Instagram que o pessoal tira fotos. Olha, eu poderia tirar uma foto com você. E ela ficou muito assustada na hora, ela pode sair correndo de lá, porque realmente o pessoal da Ásia, eles são mais introvertidos, eles não chegam assim conversando com pessoas diretamente na rua. Well, really interesting. So, anyone else who have any questions, just feel free to turn your hands up right here in Meet. But yes, então, caso mais alguém tiver alguma pergunta, algum comentário, algo que vocês gostariam de trazer até a PEI, fiquem à vontade para levantar a mão do Meet. I would like to know a little bit more about your expectations while you are in UK along with Giovanna. Like, what are you going to expect? So you're saying like exactly in London, or are you visiting like maybe the surroundings or anything like that?
I will definitely make time to go to Oxford and Cambridge. Yes. I mean, like Giovanna, I do not have a lot of money. But I will try my best to visit some nearby cities at least. But I really want to visit the castles. I think Scotland has some really beautiful castles and some other cities outside of London as well. But I don't have any expectations yet. I'll just go there and see how I can manage my studies and from there make plans. So my priority is to make sure I am healthy, I have my exercise, I eat well, I sleep well. Because London has short daylight hours. The sun sets at 4 p.m. And I'm not used to that. So I am going to prioritize my health and everything else is secondary.
Okay, really interesting. So, Pei, ela mencionou que ela vai passear por alguns lugares realmente no Reino Unido, vai conhecer, por exemplo, Oxford e Cambridge. Muito interessante, realmente. E ela também mencionou um ponto de que lá no Reino Unido o sol se põe às 4 horas da tarde. So that's interesting. I believe in the US that also happens the same, like by 4 p.m. the sun is already setting. But like while it's summer, maybe the sun is setting like by 9 p.m. That's actually really, really a shock for me when I was in the US, by the way. Rui, por favor, fique à vontade.
Pei, one more question. I'm curious about the cost of living in Singapore. How do you think what a single person, could make money in order to live in Singapore? What the minimum the single person could gain in Singapore in order to live there?
I think this also depends on lifestyle. If you want to eat out every day, I would recommend 3,000 Singapore dollars. If you pack your own lunch and you eat out maybe like 4 times a month, maybe you could get by with 2,500 Singapore dollars. Yeah.
2,500
Yes,
per month.
per month.
Mhm.
Because actually in Singapore, as a Singapore citizen, the employers have to pay pension
Mhm.
So when a job advertises like 2,500, you do not have 2,500 in your bank account every month. It will be 80% of 2,500 into your bank account. The 20% goes into your pension, like your retirement fund, and it's
Mhm.
locked.
Mhm.
It's locked by the government. You cannot take out the money until you are 55 years old.
That's
Okay.
kind of
Okay.
tough. Yeah.
Okay.
Então, a P mencionou que, por exemplo, os custos de alimentação na Singapura são caros, são altos, e, por exemplo, lá você iria gastar de 3 a 2.500 dólares por mês para poder se alimentar. Então, é algo realmente muito caro. Até a Gi deixou aqui no chat, por exemplo, isso seria 15 mil reais no Brasil. Então, é um valor alto. E, por exemplo, ela também mencionou que a parte dos salários, vamos supor que lá está sendo anunciado 3 mil dólares de salário. Na verdade, 80% é o que essa pessoa vai receber e 20% normalmente é encaminhado para impostos ou para aposentadoria no futuro. Wow, that's actually kind of tough to live there. But now I would like to understand a little bit more about your motivations to study abroad and mainly why Minerva University. So why have you decided to explore more countries and just like step outside of Singapore? Which was your motivation?
So I mentioned earlier that there was the societal expectations of go to university, get a job, get public housing. And if everyone I know in Singapore, they are following that expectation. So they sometimes, so once they are sure, so the problem with public housing is that if you want to get it before you cannot get it as a single person until you are 35 and single, 35 years old and single. If you want to get it before you are 35, you have to get married before that. And then as a couple, you can apply for public housing and receive grants or subsidies. So it's the government's way of encouraging marriages and by that extension having children because our birth rate is very low. Um, but that did not feel right with me. I felt like there could be something more to life. Um, no, Giovanna. 20% goes to retirement plan, 80% goes to you only get 80%. It's the other way. Okay, yes. Yes, so 80% salary, 20% retirement plan. Yes, so that's why I wanted to study abroad. I feel like it would give me more perspectives on what I can do with my life. Ouch. And I I guess it has. Um I think every country has the same narrative, like expectation of go to university, get a job, buy a house, get married, have kids. But there are when you study abroad, you you meet different people, and that's when you see those different people. They are pursuing different, well, their own definition of the lives that they want. So yes, I studied abroad and Minerva because that would give me the different diversity in perspectives.
Wow, really interesting. Just to make sure I understood, like, what could you like do before 35 unless you're married? Married?
Buy public housing, which is the
Oh,
cheapest housing available in Singapore.
ok. Well, bom, então a Pei, Só retornando à minha pergunta, eu perguntei a PI qual era a sua principal motivação em estudar fora, em fazer a faculdade, principalmente na Minerva. E ela disse que, por exemplo, na Singapura, as pessoas elas estão muito acostumadas em ter a sua própria expectativa de vida, que é fazer a faculdade, arrumar um trabalho estável, e seguir ali a sua própria vida normalmente. Mas tem outros fatores, por exemplo, que lá você só consegue comprar uma public house, uma casa pública, que é uma casa que seria mais acomodável numa questão financeira, é, após os 35 anos. E antes dos 35 anos, você deveria se casar para que você possa comprar uma dessa casa. E ela sentia que ela poderia aproveitar muito mais se ela viajasse pelo mundo inteiro, e principalmente a Minerva foi algo que abriu portas para ela, porque assim ela consegue explorar outros ambientes, ela consegue entender quais são outras perspectivas de pessoas, o que elas entendem do que é viver a vida, e realmente tem uma imersão cultural de diversas culturas. Então, foi essa a principal motivação dela. That's actually really interesting and inspiring. Like, I really felt inspired reading it. Yeah. Next we have Erika, por favor.
Hey, do you have a favorite country for living in? What's your opinion about this?
If you could choose one country to live.
Yes.
I can only say the countries I have lived so far. I think I would choose either Taiwan, but China wants to reclaim Taiwan, so I'm not sure. But I would also love to live in Argentina, specifically Ushuaia, which is like the southernmost city in the world. I think it's a very nice place to retire. Yes.
Wow.
Wow,
Very
amazing.
Argentina. Well, really interesting. I would just really like to mention something else that I haven't mentioned, is that I thought that Singapore initially was spelled with an S in Portuguese. And then I thought again, and I thought it was spelled with an C, like Singapura. But now I have just searched, and like by 2016, there have been like a Portuguese agreement that actually Singapore is supposed to be spelled with an S. So Singapura com S, não é com C desde 2016. Perfect. So yes, I think this was a really interesting question. I believe we are ending now. I really love to learn more about Singapore because it was somewhere that I haven't had anyone to talk about. Like there are some specific traditions and maybe new perspectives, actually, by the fact that you are here in Brazil. So it was really a great moment to be right here. And thank you so much for everyone who has participated. And I see you in next sections. Anyone else would like to add anything before we finish? Just like add and comment, anything. I don't know.
Thank you, Pei. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pei.
Thank you, Pei.